Good morning. It is Monday, October 6, 2014, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. This S&P 500 futures chart here, 10 days of trading action. You can see we've worked our way off our low. Remember how despondent the market was. We were down under 193 on the SPY, this the ETF that tracks the S&P 500. And we had a really strong rally, and then we had the jobs report, and here we are up a third of a percent here pre-market, about 2 hours before the market is going to open, recovering some of the losses that we saw last week. And it's been a pullback since our record highs that we hit a couple weeks ago. And you can see the pullback kind of stopped right about here. We have a nice bounce. This is the August 8th lows that we had a nice recovery from. We have another sell-off. We're recovering in a similar fashion, and I brought this up on the August 8th low, how we were going to recover, and you can see how we did recover when we were up just a little bit. I said, you are here, and then we continued to rally. We finally reached this part, and we pulled back, and you look how similar the pullback is really back to the heading into the tech wreck. And so that's where we are here, and we're right about here, so I'm looking for a continuation up, and we'll see if we get that. It was a very volatile market, up big one day, down big the next, really taking everybody for a ride. So in an environment like this, if you're trading out of the money stock options with a short time to expiration, you might want to scale it back a little bit until the dust starts to settle and we get some more of a reliable trend, which I think we're at the cusp of here. As long as market action kind of quiet down a little bit, I think we're going to continue our melt to the upside in spite of Ebola and everything else that's going on. The dollar's actually a little weaker this morning. You look, U.S. dollar has been trending down all through the overnight session of this morning. Hewlett-Packard is up 8%, something like that. They're going to split the company. Apparently, printers and PCs are doing very well these days, aren't they? Nonetheless, the stock is up. And again, that's my favorite word, nonetheless. So let's look at the S&P 500. We'll bring up Whole Foods. I have this up here just because it still remains at support. Whole Foods, actually a little piece about Kroger and Barron's this weekend. Whole Foods kind of included in it, pointing out Whole Foods' high price per earnings ratio. But we'll see if it can recover here off the support levels that it hit last week. Looking for a move up to 40 this week. We have the S&P 500. I just want to bring it up. Look at this beautiful candle here. We got back over the Abenomics trend line. That was key last week. If there was anything good that happened last week for the bulls, was the fact we were able to get back over and close above this Abenomics trend line. That is bullish for the market. We've been trending up. That's what you want to see. You want to see stocks holding support. So we got right back above it, and we look poised to take out the $200 level on the SPY, which tracks the S&P 500. This is the broadening descending wedge that I talked about at the tech wreck of 2014 about 6 months ago. I said we were going to resolve significantly to the upside, and we did. And look how close we came to that big triple-digit figure of 100 before pulling back. I think that's where we're headed in the short term, and we'll see. I mean, it's, I'm going to sit there and analyze and do every kind of back testing that you want, but the trend remains to the upside. I mean, look at it for the last 5 years. So, I mean, call it stupid, call it blind luck, but yeah, anybody who's been buying stocks going long has been doing quite well, and anybody who hasn't been fighting the trend, and it's like swimming out to sea when the water's all trying to rush in. I mean, you're probably going to drown before you get out to where you got to go. Same thing with stocks here. The trend remains to the upside. Why fight? Why fight? They say, why fight the Fed? Why fight the current? Trend remains to the upside. Speaking of a trend, how about gold? Gold has been absolutely monkey hammered. You see that I have this downward channel pointing down to 100. It's actually broke above it. This is about 6 months ago, I believe. It's now right up again. So we break down, we get back into this channel, we could be looking at significant downside. And if you look overnight, gold continues to sell off. We'll bring up gold futures here. Look at gold futures, it's taking quite a tumble. Really hit its high back in February and the start of March. Pulled back, bounced at the tech wreck a little bit, then came up into the summer, and now is just really falling off a cliff. So look at gold. We have oil, which is falling as well. I mean, commodities are falling, and a lot of it, and I'll show you in a second what that has to do with. We have crude oil pulling back, and really right at its height right here was when we had all that conflict in the Middle East, and all the analysts were talking about $160 a barrel, again, like back in the summer of 2007. Yeah, how'd that work out? And the ultimate rally and collapse in 2008. But what really is helping to drag down the commodity market is the U.S. dollar. And look at that. I mean, where you got gold and crude oil and silver all falling, you have the U.S. dollar continuing to gain strength. Amazing move here. for the U.S. dollar. It's actually pulling back a little bit here overnight into this morning. So that's, you don't want to see anything move parabolically to the upside. So at some point it's going to come tumbling back down. So we can see a moderate decline back down a little bit for the U.S. dollar before it resumes its trend to the upside, which is also going to take bonds. And you can see bonds have been doing quite well. And if you just look back, let's just go for a yearly chart here. And right back at when the Federal Reserve started the tapering process back in December of 2013, you can see bonds have been doing quite well. Everybody thought bonds were going to sell off because the Federal Reserve was going to pull out of the market. Oh, no, we're doing pretty good. And a lot of it's got to do with what's going on overseas. Actually, I think it was Zero Hedge posted up this weekend talking about, hey, Greece has got another 12 months to go before it needs another bailout. But, hey, 12 months, the market looks ahead 6, so we're good. And if you look at what's going on overseas, some of these countries that were about to go belly up 2 years ago are now yielding less than U.S. government debt. So that's why bonds are being well bid here in the U.S. All that money, it's negative interest rates over in Europe. Where else are you going to put your money to get some sort of return? Stocks and U.S. bonds, and even U.S. bonds, the yields continue to remain suppressed. So we'll see, and that kind of indicates inflation. So let's look at an ETF that tracks the 20-year bond fund. Here's TLT, and you can look, it's coming right up against that 119.50 level. We got about $2 more to the upside to go. And you remember a couple weeks ago, right at the top, just about here, I put it on StockTwits. I was buying the puts for a pullback because of this move up to this former support, now resistance level, and we pull back nicely. So we're making another attempt. I think it'll be a good spot here. Possibly we get up to 119.50 to get some puts for a pullback on TLT. GoPro is another stock here that continues to defy logic for a lot of people. At IPO'd at a high price, continues up 300%, and actually making a big move over the last 60 days. Stock has been exploding to the upside. Had a nice pullback, some negative articles, and then we had the company people were thinking it was doing a loophole to sell some of the locked up shares. But this morning upgraded one company, an analyst came out, upgraded the stock, put a target moved it from 65 to 105. Anyway, I'm looking for this to move over $100. And to me, it reminds me a lot. If you want to look like, where are we now? Look at Tesla back in April of 2000. Let's go back. Let's use the flashback machine. We'll go back in time, and you can look really back in the spring of 2013. This is GoPro here. And look where we are here with Tesla. And the analysts were saying the same thing here. And we had even a big decline back in June and July of 2013 before we continue the upside. I'm not saying GoPro is going another 500-600% over the next year, but what I'm saying is the analysts, most of them, continue to have it wrong. There's a reason why these stocks move the way they do, and a lot of it has got to do with more than simply typing stuff into a calculator. A lot of people like to look at a stock like Amazon and go, oh my goodness, price per earnings, it doesn't have any profit. PE is 300. Well, guess what? It's over a $300 stock, and you see the move it's had. It's there for a reason. All these lines take them off. So a stock like Amazon still looks poised here to take over 500, but I think the Baba IPO, and Alibaba, I think is going to head over $100 over the next couple months, but it's been kind of flatlining here since its IPO, which is good. So let's look at a couple other stocks. I like DDD from a long-term chart perspective. Similar spike to the upside. Let's pull up the drawings. It's right at support there, so I like DDD. RIG has really been taking down the chin. A lot of these commodity-based stocks have actually broke through support the last couple weeks, but that doesn't mean it's not oversold. It could come back up to the support line. So I'm in actually a couple calls. It was down something like 6%. On Friday. And then finally, if we're going to bring up RIG, let's bring up oil, which broke through long-term trendline support. See if it can come back up to it. Oil is actually up, USO is up 0.6% before the market. And one more stock, let's look at GDX. And GDX, if you want to look at the gold complex, GDX tracks the gold miners, broke through significant long-term support. GDX, let's pull back from a 10-year perspective. Look at this. Aside from these wicks to the downside, we get a nice solid candle support. It's broken through it and looks ready to plunge under 20, but up again this morning to start the week. All right, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. That's it. We got earnings season kicking off soon. We have the Fed minutes, I believe, on Wednesday, so we'll figure out exactly what they were thinking. Right now, stock futures are higher, and we're looking for that move back over 200. We're back above the Abenomics trend line, so things are looking pretty good for the bulls. We'll see how long that lasts, as long as Ebola doesn't spread out of control and spook the markets. I think that's the trend remains to the upside. All right, UPB, I'll see you in the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. Goodbye.